A man is running across a bridge. It's Kiyama, and he's late for his new job as a teacher. But the other new teacher, Okabe, is already at Maiko High School talking to her mother on the phone. Kiyama finally reaches the school, and he is excited. Okabe is still in the bathroom when some girls walk in and make fun of her, and then ignore her until she walks out. Kiyama spots some students walking over to an elderly man sweeping the floor, and they ask the man to give them something. And Kiyama tries to come to his defense, but the kids ignore him and take the bag of food from the janitor. This surprises Kiyama, but he gets even more surprised when one student says, "Thank you, principal." That was the principal and not the janitor. Kiyama instantly apologizes and bows to the principal. At the gathering, Okabe introduces herself to the students, but they're not paying attention at all. Now it's Kiyama's turn, and he tells them it's his first time teaching, and he'll be teaching PE, but they still don't care. The principal then takes the stand and calls out the students one by one, but then he praises them for coming to school. This shocks Kiyama and Okabe, and the principal just asks them to come back tomorrow, and that was it. Just as Vice Principal Harada was about to speak, Rikuya comes in riding his motorbike, but Kiyama is shocked more by the reaction of the principal, so Harada goes down and meets Rikuya head-on to stop his bike. Then he tells Rikuya to take it outside. At recess, the halls are filled with crazy students, and Harada talks to the students in a playful way, which shocks Kiyama and Okabe further. Kiyama talks to Okabe about how weird the school is, and she agrees and notices a lighter she dropped, but she tells him it belongs to a student. Okabe adds and tells him what kind of school he signed up to, a place where hopeless kids that have nowhere else to go come to learn. The other teachers bow their heads when they hear that. Kiyama thinks the teachers are also a problem for letting this happen. That's when the principal steps in and tells them there is a meeting, but it's at a restaurant. At the restaurant, everyone is eating and drinking. Kiyama asks them why they let the students act this way. The principal asks the new teachers what they think of the students. Okabe says they come here because they are problem students. Harada says there's a reason for that. The principal adds that the students there are facing many problems in their lives, and they need to be given a break once they come to school. The principal decided that the other rules don't matter, so the students are only required to wear uniforms and come to school so they can provide them with support. Rikuya walks home and finds his mom passed out drunk. The next morning, Kiyama finds some students and greets them, but they have no idea who he is, so he tells them he's the new PE teacher. He then finds Rikuya walking out of class and tells him not to pull stunts like riding a bike into school anymore. Kiyama then tries to ask him what else might be bothering him, but Rikuya just walks away. Okabe is in class teaching, but the students are not paying any attention. They are all looking at a magazine, and Okabe shouts and tells them to pay attention. That's when Mizaki gets up and goes to the bathroom. The other students tell Okabe that she's been sick recently, so Okabe follows Mizaki to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Okabe tells Mizaki she's here to check on her, but Mizaki runs out again. When Okabe checks the bin, she finds a pregnancy test. Back in the gym, Kiyama is training with the kids and finds Kakiru sitting alone. When he talks to him and tries to get him up, Kakiru refuses completely. But that's when a ball comes and hits Kiyama right in the face. Then, on his way down, he hits a metal bar. Okabe shows the pregnancy tests to Harada and tells him she's concerned. The other teacher says it's the third one this year. Harada then tells Okabe to handle this herself. Kiyama is walking away still confused and gets startled by Mita, who tells him that he has to wait 4 years here to get a transfer, but he should apply now, just in case. Kiyama is at his locker and finds his shoes on the ground. It's odd, but he didn't seem to mind and put them on. That's when he finds out they are glued to the floor. He pops out and hits his head again on a shelf. That's when the kids run out laughing. Okabe gives the lighter back to Mizaki in that same bathroom. They seem to bond more, and Mizaki talks to Okabe normally, but when Okabe asks her not to smoke, she becomes sarcastic and walks away. She stops when Okabe mentions the pregnancy. Mizaki then asks her to go in one of the stalls because she can't talk secrets while looking at her face. But as soon as she steps in, Mizaki locks the door with a broom and dumps water over the top. Kiyama writes his transfer request and agrees to send it in with Mita. Just as he was about to give it to Harada, Okabe walked in soaked from head to toe, asking to get transferred to a different school. Other teachers walk up to her and hand her a towel and tell her it happens often to them too. Harada and Kiyama are talking, and Harada tells Kiyama about how students test adults before giving them trust, and that's what is happening to him right now. Harada says Kakeru actually loves PE and is really good at it too, so Kiyama should help him bring that out again. Kiyama follows Kakeru and sees that he takes care of his younger siblings. Kiyama sees him not having enough money to buy the kids what they wanted, but he gives them the food he took from the principal that morning. He follows them home and sees Kakeru cooking for his siblings, and this makes Kiyama sad. Back at the school, Kiyama asks Okabe to walk home with him, and she agrees. As they are walking in the dark talking, they see Rikuya and run over to him. That's when they saw his face was beaten up, and when they ask him about it, he just walks away. But Kiyama stops him and asks again, but Rikuya tells him he just fell, which was obviously a lie, and walks away. The next morning, Harada asks him about how it went. He tells him about what he saw with Kakeru and his living conditions. Harada tells him to keep at it and try to find a way to help. But Kiyama also asks him about Rikuya, and he was injured. Okabe backs him up and says she was there too. Harada then instructs everyone to be more attentive towards Rikuya. That's when all the teachers start giving weird attention to Rikuya, and that makes him feel awkward. Okabe waits for Mizaki in the bathroom again, and Mizaki makes fun of her for the water. She's worried about Mizaki and even goes in the toilet again so they can talk. Mizaki just walks away but stops when Okabe tells her about the research she did for her. Okabe then tells Mizaki she'll go with her to the hospital if she wants. That moves Mizaki and she agrees. Kiyama is on the field with his students playing football. When he sees Kakeru sitting alone, he runs over and asks him to join the game, but Kakeru says he's sick. So Kiyama sits with him and they talk about him liking PE, but Kakeru wants him to go. That's when Kiyama finds out Kakeru is hungry. That's when Kakeru gets upset and storms off. Kiyama runs after him and gives him some food, but Kakeru smacks it out of his hand. But Kiyama picks it up and hands it back to him. After Kiyama runs off, Kakeru eats the sandwich pretty quickly. But that's when Rikuya sees him from the window. When Kiyama was talking with Harada, a teacher comes running and tells him there's something he needs to see. On the board, someone has written, "If you're hungry, go to Kiyama, the PE teacher. If you ask, he'll give you bread." And she tells Kiyama that it's been written in every classroom. When he turns around, all the students get up and swarm around him, asking for food, and he runs away from them. At the bar, the teachers discuss Kakeru, but Kiyama seems unhappy about his actions. But what they want to know is who wrote it on the board. Harada doesn't think it's Kakeru, but they need to find out. When Kiyama was walking home, Rikuya called him over. He asks Kiyama about him giving the food to Kakeru. When Kiyama asks if he was the one who wrote on the boards, Rikuya changes the subject and tells him not to look down on the kids and be a hypocrite. When Rikuya gets home, he sees his mother drunk watching TV. He tries to take the drink away, but she gets upset and tells him to get out. Rikuya leaves and sleeps on a park bench. In the meeting, Okabe tells everyone that Mizaki wants to have the baby, but they don't know if she will finish school along with having the baby. The principal wants everyone to be protective. They get a call saying Rikuya lost his wallet at the park, so Kiyama goes to pick it up for him, and when he gets to Rikuya's home, he finds him beaten up again. That's when Kiyama charges in to confront his mom, but Rikuya pulls him out of the door. When they're alone, Kiyama gives him his wallet. They go to eat ramen and have a good conversation. When Rikuya got home, he told his mom he wants to take her there when he gets paid from his part-time job, but she hates that because they'll blame her for not taking care of him. At a school meeting, Rikuya calls Kiyama. He tells him his mom had taken her life. Kiyama runs over to the hospital and finds him sad. When the principal found out, he told the other teacher to support Rikuya. Rikuya had gotten a text from his mom where she apologized for everything she had done to him. The school hires another teacher, Tachibana Kumiko, who will be the new librarian at the school. Rikuya finds Kiyama and thanks him for helping with the paperwork, but he walks away to live somewhere else despite the cries of Kiyama. Kumiko is redecorating the library, and everyone helped with that. She then brings in food for all the students. At the bar, they discuss what to do for the school festival, and Harada was embarrassed and walks away. They say he flopped last year's festival, trying to make the teachers into a choir. That's when Kiyama gets an idea. They should be Makio Rangers, dress up in costumes, and dance to music. At the festival, they all dress up as rangers and put on a show which the students loved. When Kiyama asks the students to submit career plans, none of them do it, and he urges them to think of what they want to do with their lives. When Kiyama goes through the papers, no one put down anything. Harada then tells him most students already work part-time jobs and can't express what they really want to do since there is so much expectation on them already. Kiyama then convinces the students to really think about it
スポーツと一緒だ。
And a few students come up to him and tell him what they really want to do. Kakeru comes by and says he already has a job as a dishwasher, but he wants to be a chef. So Kiyama tells him to work hard and become a chef at that exact restaurant. Two other students also come by, and he gives them advice on what to do to achieve their dream jobs. Okabe goes to meet Mizaki at a restaurant, and Mizaki has decided to have the baby, and there is no point in graduating since no one cares about the school. At the basketball game, the other team fouls the Makio player hard, and they get into a fight. But they get together and come back into the game stronger. The teachers also cheer for them, and they hit the game-winning shot. The kids that wanted other jobs get accepted using the school as reference. Kiyama even goes around looking for places that will hire the students as interns.
大丈夫にします。よろしくお願いします。
But they don't get any luck. One day at a business conference, Kiyama tells all the business owners on what they are working on, and they all clap and agree on it being a good idea. Then they all give him their business cards and tell him to call if he needs anything for the students. And that gets all the students into the career paths they wanted to be in. We even see Rikuya got a job as a mechanic. What an ending. The movie is set in a high school environment, focusing on the journey of a new contract teacher, So Si-min, who faces the harsh realities of the educational system. So Si-min has recently joined Muyang High School for a 3-month teaching term. Despite the challenges she encounters, including being exploited by senior teachers for their own benefit, she endures and performs their tasks, hoping to gain their favor and secure her position. One day, So Si-min becomes upset due to inappropriate behavior from the principal. Seeking solace, she retreats to the bathroom to text a friend and vent her frustrations. While in the bathroom, she overhears senior teachers discussing her. They express sympathy for her challenging role, referencing a previous teacher who attempted suicide
그 자리 어떤 자리인지 말해주셨어요?
due to pressure from the school's gangs. Realizing they are discussing her, So Si-min is shocked and hides in a toilet stall to avoid being disturbed. Her phone accidentally rings, revealing her presence to the teachers. Later, an older teacher approaches So Si-min to share insights into the school's troubling dynamics. She warns So Si-min about the prevalent bullying, particularly cautioning her against interfering with Han-soo's gang. To illustrate the severity of the situation, she shows So Si-min a video where a grandmother scolds Han-soo's gang for smoking, urging them to eat her homemade kimbap instead. Witnessing the gang's disrespect towards the grandmother leaves So Si-min in disbelief. Despite her urge to stand for justice, she reminds herself to focus on her career and strive for a permanent position at the school. That night, So Si-min returns home to find her friend, now a police officer. They share a meal and discuss their work. So Si-min harbors resentment towards her father for the sacrifices she made for their family, including giving up her dream of joining the Olympics boxing team. Her father, a boxing trainer, had trained her to the finalist level, but the financial burdens he accrued forced her to prioritize supporting the family over her ambitions. As they talk, So Si-min notices several toy masks, a creation of her father intended to amuse the children he trains. While she acknowledges the cuteness of a cat mask, her frustration towards her father's excessive kindness resurfaces. The next day unfolds with So Si-min, the new teacher, feeling proud of her teaching skills as she walks through the school corridors. However, her self-congratulation is abruptly interrupted when she witnesses Jin Hyung, one of her students, being brutally bullied by Han-soo's gang. Initially, So Si-min tries to ignore the scene, but her moral compass won't allow her to remain passive. As she moves to intervene, another student observing the scene from a hiding spot urgently pulls her aside, warning her about the gang's notoriety and advising her not to get involved. Despite the warning, So Si-min can't help but watch as Han-soo's gang continues their cruel treatment of Jin Hyung. In a particularly vicious moment, Han-soo prepares to kick Jin Hyung in the face. At the critical moment, So Si-min seemingly by accident steps in and intercepts the kick. She feigns ignorance, scolds Jin Hyung for being out of class during the break, and leaves the scene, leaving Han-soo and his gang surprised and curious about her identity. Later, Jin Hyung visits So Si-min in her office, desperately seeking her help to cope with the bullying. So Si-min, reluctant to get further involved due to the school's politics, and Han-soo's influential family, feels powerless to effect change. She suggests that Jin Hyung consider transferring schools, but he firmly refuses, insisting that he is not at fault and shouldn't be the one to leave. Han-soo's gang, observing this interaction from outside, captures an image of So Se-min and Jin Hyung together, potentially to use it against them in the future. On another day, So Se-min confronts Han-soo on the rooftop while he and his gang are smoking. She offers to talk and help him change his ways, but Han-soo and his friends mock her, leading to her departure with a glare of dislike. The school is soon thrown into chaos when Han-soo's stepmother, accompanied by her lawyer, storms into the teacher's office. She's outraged upon learning that her son has been accused of misconduct at the school. She demands the teachers to reveal the identity of whoever reported the incident, putting everyone on edge and escalating the conflict. The movie reaches a tense moment when So Se-min, facing significant pressure, kneels before Han-soo's stepmother and the school principal, admitting that she was the one who reported Han-soo's misconduct. Han-soo's stepmother, in a show of disdain, demands that the principal fire So Se-min and then leaves the room. However, in a twist, Han-soo, who wields considerable influence in the school, instructs the principal not to fire So Se-min. He maliciously plans to enjoy tormenting her, hoping to force her resignation. That night, feeling despondent and on the brink of losing her job, So Se-min visits a convenience store. There, she encounters Han-soo and his gang, who mock and bully her. Barely managing to escape their clutches, So Se-min's frustration and anger reach a boiling point. On her way home, she accidentally bumps into a stranger who aggressively confronts her. Reacting instinctively, So Se-min uses her taekwondo skills to knock him out, experiencing a sense of victory and liberation from her pent-up frustrations. Ignited by this incident, So Se-min wears a cat mask and heads to the basketball field, where Han-soo and his gang are involved in a violent altercation. In a dramatic turn, the masked So Se-min intervenes, displaying remarkable fighting skills and overpowering Han-soo, leaving him bloodied. The arrival of the police causes the gang to flee, with Han-soo left bewildered and curious about the identity of the masked vigilante. After the confrontation, So Se-min removes her mask, feeling exhilarated and triumphant. Unbeknownst to her, a student who had been observing the fight from a distance recognizes her as the masked figure. The following morning, So Se-min returns to school, acting as if nothing unusual has occurred. She feigns ignorance amidst the teacher's discussions about the previous night's incident involving Han-soo being beaten by a masked figure. Meanwhile, an infuriated Han-soo takes out his frustration on Jin Hyung, subjecting him to humiliating and degrading tasks. So Se-min's transformation into a masked vigilante represents her breaking point and her decision to take a stand against the bullying and injustice she witnesses at the school. Her actions challenge the existing power dynamics and begin to shift the balance. The plot intensifies as the student who recognized So Se-min as the masked vigilante seeks her help. He informs her that Jin Hyung is in trouble, being bullied by Han-soo in his apartment. Feeling a sense of responsibility, So Se-min cannot deny her identity as the Cat Man. She quickly dons her disguise, wearing a jacket to appear masculine, and heads to Han-soo's location with the toy mask concealing her face. Upon arriving at the billiard space, So Se-min searches for Jin Hyung, but finds he's been sent out to fetch food. She then confronts Han-soo, and a tense standoff ensues. Han-soo, confident and brash, vows to unmask her and reveal her identity. Initially, Han-soo gains the upper hand in the fight, but So Se-min quickly turns the tables. She skillfully gains control of the situation, and just like their previous encounter, knocks Han-soo out. At this critical moment, Jin Hyung enters the room, knife in hand, intent on attacking the defenseless Han-soo. So Se-min intervenes, placing herself between Jin Hyung and Han-soo, and in the process, she gets cut on her arm. Despite the injury, she manages to prevent Jin Hyung from making a grave mistake and quickly leaves the scene. So Se-min's injury results in significant blood loss, and upon reaching home, she is hospitalized. After recovering and being discharged, she shares a deeply emotional and cathartic moment with her father. They bridge the gap that had grown between them, discussing past grievances and sharing tears, finally reconnecting. The next day, Han-soo and his gang cause a commotion at the school, determined to unmask the Cat Man, whom they assume to be a student. After a fruitless search, Han-soo has a revelation. He observes So Se-min's movements and mannerisms, which bear a striking resemblance to the masked vigilante's taekwondo skills. When he sees her wince in pain, clutching her wrist after a collision, he realizes she is the Cat Man. Excitedly, he follows her. So Se-min, who is on the phone with her sister, is startled by noises at her door. She finds Han-soo waiting for her. He triumphantly reveals that he has discovered discovered her secret identity, leaving her in shock. To her dismay, Han-soo challenges her to a ring competition at the upcoming school celebration, intensifying the conflict between them. This scene ends with So Si-min grappling with the realization that her secret is out and the implications it holds for her future as a teacher at the school. As time progresses, Jin Hyung submits a transfer application, deeply affected by the relentless bullying. So Si-min, concerned about his well-being, visits Jin Hyung's home. There, she discovers that his grandmother is a customer of her kimbap, a meaningful coincidence. She finds Jin Hyung on the terrace, where he's grappling with suicidal thoughts. So Si-min engages in a heartfelt conversation, persuading him to reconsider and inviting him to the school's upcoming celebration day, offering him support and understanding.
축제 때 꼭 와, 진영아.
The day of the school celebration arrives, buzzing with anticipation. Rumors have spread that the Catman will face Han-soo in the ring, leading many students to don cat masks, symbolizing their support for the mysterious vigilante. Amidst the cheers and excitement, So Si-min, initially hesitant, decides to embrace her alter ego and participate in the fight. She changes into the Catman outfit, and upon seeing Jin Hyung outside, shares a warm hug with him. This gesture raises Jin Hyung's suspicion, as the hug feels familiar, reminiscent of his teachers. In the ring, the face-off between Han-soo and So Si-min commences. Initially, Han-soo seems to have the upper hand. But as the supporters of So Si-min begin to lose hope, she finds her strength and turns the tide of the fight. The match intensifies, with both combatants displaying equal prowess. In a dramatic turn, So Si-min's hair comes undone, revealing to the audience that the Catman might be a woman. In a bold move, she removes her mask, risking her job and reputation. Despite the odds, she triumphs over Han-soo, sending him out of the ring. In a moment of poetic justice, Han-soo finds himself kneeling unintentionally before Jin Hyung. So Si-min urges Han-soo to apologize for his actions, but he stubbornly refuses. Jin Hyung, displaying maturity and closure, walks away, stating that Han-soo's defeat and loss of respect among students are punishment enough. The movie reaches its climax when Han-soo, in a last desperate attempt, tries to attack So Si-min from behind with a plywood. However, So Si-min incapacitates him with a well-placed kick to the head. In the final scenes, justice is served as Han-soo is arrested, his own friends turning against him and providing evidence of his bullying to the police. So Si-min, having proven her bravery and commitment to justice, moves on to another school, determined to continue making a difference and upholding her principles. The movie concludes with So Si-min's journey as a fearless and justice-driven teacher, ready to face new challenges and continue her fight against injustice.